Hello, my friends. Welcome back. We are looking at enhancing the calculator project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Recall in the previous video, we looked at how we could potentially make the placement of buttons eligible with a more concise code. Let's start that process here with the numbers. Remember, numbers are always placed in a rectangular grid 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. You could make 0 a little bit bigger. Sometimes people have a 0 followed by 0, 0, and then say a decimal place. Now, the point here is that again, we want to place these flexibly, all right, but we also want to balance flexibility with readability. To make all that happen, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make these buttons, which are, let's say, single column span and single row span, placed as part of a loop, and then this button, which is a big one here, the 0, we will handle separately. So this kind of balances out the whole thing. Notice in our game, in our project that we built, this cell appears 2 0, so row number 2 column 0. This appears on row 2 column 2, and it's row 2 3 4 and 5. So basically this is very regular grid, and I think we can use a loop quite comfortably here. Recall, let's briefly look at the challenges that we discussed earlier and how we are handling them. Different functions is taken out from the picture because all numbers call the same function. So that gets taken out. Different arguments in lambda, we will have to worry about this. Different columns and row spans, like I said, we will not bother about this either. So we have really simplified the problem, and that actually helps. Let's start placing the buttons in a regular manner. Now, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to make a list of lists. Notice this num list here is a list of lists. In this, I'm just storing, for example, what goes in row number, say 0, row number 1, row number 2, row number 3. I've put two X's here because remember the button with column span 2, I'm going to place it separately. Now we want to keep this a little bit flexible. That's why I define a base row and a base column. What I mean here is that in this case, for example, the base row could be seen as 2. That means that in the project, this will start at row number 2 and it will move forward from there. So what I'm doing is really very simple. Remember, this is a list of lists. So I just say, okay, let me iterate through, let's say, this list. So there are 4 lists inside this because there are 4 rows. And then I iterate through every item of each row. So I'm just saying, okay, let me get one list at a time and then look at, let's say, every item of that list. I just look at, let's say, each item here. For example, num list say KKJJ, which means JJth item of KKth list, which means, for example, 00 would be, say, 7. So I'm saying, okay, let me strip this whole thing so that the spaces are taken out. If that is not equal to X, which means that's like something has to be placed there, I go and put a button with text being, let's say, num list KKJJ, and I place this as KK plus B row, which is a base row, and column of JJ plus B column, because base row, B row and B column are my base row and base column respectively. Now, let's first see this working, and then we'll come back to add the functionality. So I come here to my class project. Let me just let all this be as it is. I will, after having generated, let's say, the entry level, maybe I will write my code over here. So like I said, I'm going to define a base row. In this case, base row is 2. A base column, in this case, it is, say, 0. I'm going to define a num list here, which, like I said, is a list of lists. And in this, every list contains, for example, what goes in the top row. So it's going to be, for example, 7, let's say 8. Now I do this with the spaces because then it's easier for me to, put the text for the buttons. I'm going to put this, for example, as, let's say, 7, 8, say 9. Now this is my first list. My next list, let me just copy and paste this. So I say 7, 8, 9. Control V. So for example, this is going to be 4, say 5, say 6, and finally, say, let's do this carefully. So 3, it's a 2, and say a 1. Now for the last row, I'm going to put 2 X's, and let's say, so just control V this. I'm just going to put 2 X's because remember the 0 is going to come over there. So I just going to say, well, 2 X's for me, and then finally a decimal point. Now, with all this done, I can now start writing my for loop. So I go and say, well, for example, KK in range, let's say, length of num list. So, I could have more rows here if I wanted to, but here I just go and say, well, length of, let's say, num list. And what do, okay, so something, yeah, this is okay. For JJ in range, let's say, num list, say, 0. Now what this means is I'm looking at the length of the first list in the num list. Now remember, num list is a list of lists, so I'm looking at the very first num list 0. Basically this is 3 here, but this makes the code a little bit more flexible, so I just say okay, look at the num list 0. In fact, I could have looked at num list 0, num list 1, num list 2, num list 3, because they are all the same length, right? That's the whole design. So I say, well, look at range. Okay, so this, I need a len over here. Range, let's say length of num list 0. Now, having done this, I just ask myself a question. Well, look, if num list, let's say, kk jj, say kk jj dot say strip. Now, strip, remember, is a string method. We have looked at this before, which will remove the leading and trailing. That it will basically, for example, to 7, it will remove the trailing leading spaces, and let's say make it just 7. So if this is not equal to an x, which means I do want to place a button over there, this should be a big X. So if this is not equal to a big X, well, I'm going to just take my, let's say I'm going to put a button over here. I'm going to say tk dot say button with text being equal to, let's say, num list, for example, kk and jj. And I'm going to say, well, grid. So again, I use the grid method, and within grid, row is equal to something, column is equal to something. Let me just put this first. Column is equal to something, and the row in this case, I'm going to make it to be, let's say, kk plus b row, which is basically saying, okay, look, this goes in, for example, this is kk, this would be kk equals to 0. This goes into 0 plus 2, which is row number 2. Column would be equal to, let's say, jj plus b col. And now this is basically saying that, look, JJ index is a column index, because remember the JJ is basically going this element, this element, this element, then this element, so on and so forth. So I'm just saying, well, column is going to be JJ plus the base call, and that sounds quite logical. Of course, as before, I'm going to say, well, sticky, sticky, sticky is, let's say, tk dot nsew. Now with this done, I can for now remove, let's say, all the buttons that I place, and you can see how that actually cleans up the code. So let me just comment out all of this. We don't need this anymore. I let the operators be because we've, not placing them. So I'm going to remove, let's say, 4, the 5, let the operators be. I'm going to remove, let's say, 1, say 2, the 3, let the minus sign be. I'm going to remove, let this be as well, the equal to sign. I'm going to let this be, sorry, but I'm going to remove the let's say, the decimal place. Now, even though I've commented out all this, notice my code has actually become quite concise. When I run this piece of code now, when I run this piece of code, notice, in fact, my buttons place quite as usual. Now, the reason they are appearing a little bit different is because, unlike earlier, I'm no longer specifying the color, but I can do that quite easily. I can just go and say, well, foreground is black, so the text will appear black, and background is gray. So if I were to do this, along with the text, if I were to go and, let's say, place these two parameters as well, in fact, now I expect the buttons to follow exactly like earlier. Notice when I run this piece of code, my buttons come exactly as usual, but obviously these buttons now are not functional, because that is the next challenge. I must make them functional. Now, in order to make this happen, remember we use the lambda statement, and we just said, okay, look, lambda, command is equal to lambda, and this lambda goes and call, this lambda is an anonymous function, which then goes and calls press num. Now, the first thought would be, just like earlier, I'm going to say, okay, look, let me take this item here, for example, 7, 8, or 9, and put it, let's say, to my press num. So I'm going to just take the number kkjj and strip. So that removes trailing leading spaces, and I'm going to pass that on to my lambda. But this actually will not work. We'll see what happens when I do this. So I just come to my code here. I'm going to say, well, look, in this part, I'm going to say command is equal to, let's say, lambda, lambda. I do a colon, and I then say press num is a function already available to me. However, in this, I'm going to call, say, num list, say, kk, comma, so jj, and dot, let's say, strip. Now, dot strip basically removes the trailing and leading spaces. But let's see this when I run this piece of code. When I run this piece of code, notice something interesting happens. I am pressing, let's say, any number, but in fact, I'm getting only a decimal place appearing over there. And this is really interesting. This is really strange in a way, because first thought tells me that look, as the loop runs, KK and JJ in fact evolve, and hence I expect that, well, the press name should have been getting the right argument. But unfortunately, it doesn't work this way, because what happens is that we are creating the lambda all right, but when we are calling this lambda, remember, we are calling this after these loops have completely run, which means KK and JJ have reached their final values. In this case, it's going to be, let's say, KK would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and JJ will be 0, 1, 2. So we are basically running it for the item which is basically, let's say, 3, 2. So that is why everything is being run for a decimal. Now, the right way to do this, now this is a little bit, let's say, strange in a way, but this works. So I'm going to say bind, an argument to, let's say, my lambda. I'm going to say, well, x equals to, say, kk, y equals to jj. And when I call my lambda, I'm going to do it with, let's say, x and y. Now when I run this piece of code, amazingly, this completely starts to work like usual. So I can say, for example, do, let's say, something like this, and I say plus, say, 25. Well, that is indeed equal to whatever I'm seeing here. Now notice what's the difference between the previous code and now is that I'm not calling the argument here as a kk and jj. In fact, I'm sort of binding this to two other variables, say x and y, and using them to create a lambda. So, the code doesn't go with the last value of kk and jj. In fact, code runs with the value just gets updated as the loop is running. Now, this works. And, of course, seeing is believing. Now, just to sort of wrap this up, remember, for 0, we'll still stick with the same code. But what that means is that I can basically get rid of all this code, because we don't need this really. I just commented this out. Let me just remove all of this code, and notice from this point of view my code has become really quite, let's say, concise. I still have my 0, and for 0 everything remains the same. I use lambda press num 0, but that's okay, because this is column span of 2. This is still much lesser code. So still, like I said, we're balancing, let's say, conciseness to readability, and I think this is much more readable, much more concise compared to what we were doing earlier. I hope you found this interesting. In general, if you think this way of learning works for you, where we build activities, we try to enhance them, we try to see things working, look at our website, because on our website www.ybyte.in we have many such activities. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.